as well as other civil society organizations and the general public at large. So with Gambia Participates, I mean, we are very, very much concerned with the issues of the budget in the country. So I mean, many a times we have taken parliamentarians just to enhance fiscal transparency in the country. We have taken parliamentarians across their constituents to have discussions with their people on their priorities in the budget, as well as working in the area of anti-corruption. We have been fostering and working hard to push on the anti-corruption bill, which is still at Parliament. And I mean, during the 2021 presidential elections and 2022 parliamentary elections, we observed them respectively. And I believe that we had the largest observation mission that is domestic in the country, which was a huge plus for us because this was our first major election observation, and it turned out really well for us.
Great. And in case you are wondering who are Gambia Participate, I think you now have a better knowledge to understand who are the people behind this program. Now, let's get straight to the reason why you are here. We're talking about the COVID-19 food aid distribution, and you did a findings, you know, you should, of course, also have a report on that. But before we get to what you have found on the ground, on your findings, what triggered the move or the interest of you going down to the people and talk about how this rice, oil, and others were distributed? Something that Gambians has been questioning or asking till there are unanswered questions relating to this. But what triggered the move?
I mean, I believe our area of intervention focuses on transparency and accountability. So when such huge amount of money was taken out, there is the need to check whether everything was transparent and to hold anyone responsible accountable, because these are areas that we mainly focus in. And considering that this has some connections with the budget that we have always been working on, we had to investigate as well. So it is quite important, because most times the issue in Gambia is some things happen and we just allow it to go, because when you hear like about the food aid, the oil, the rice, the sugar, you think that, oh, it's a privilege that the government is actually giving these things for free, but most of them don't know that this is actually money that is kept in our coffers or something that we could have used, and these are our taxpayers' money.
It's not a privilege despite it was given out.
Exactly, it's not a privilege. It's not as if the government took out from their personal pockets and are doing it for them. That is why, I mean, we have been talking with people in our different engagements over and over again that when you see development, when you see like the food aid initiative that the government took, it's not as if it's a privilege for you to receive these things. It's actually coming from somewhere and your money are in there. So don't think that it's like a privilege for me to receive rice, oil and sugar. So it is something that they are taken from somewhere, and this somewhere, your money is what is in there. So just know that it's not a privilege. So there was the need for us to come out to investigate, because 700 and almost 800 million is not small money.
It's of course, it's a staggering amount.
Exactly.
You know, and how was the level of understanding on the ground before we get into the findings? How was the people understand this is neku then you call May, but it was something that the government needed to do because of what was on you know, at hand at the time? How do you find the understanding of the masses?
Yeah, you look at it, maybe mainly people around the greater Banjul ends will have an idea that this is not a privilege. It's more like what they are getting from their own money, that is the taxpayers' money. But when you go outside, most of them, some of them, you know, they are not literate. So they are of the belief that this is a privilege to them. Like they are actually helping us. They have no idea that this is one way linked to the money that is being taken from them on monthly basis or through other means of indirect taxes. So they have little or no idea. To most of them, this is more like a privilege that the government is giving them this food items.
Yeah, because COVID was here and they needed support.
Exactly. COVID was here, and to them, these people are actually supporting us. That this money, you know, most of, it's not only about the COVID-19. Most of the things that government usually does, even when it comes to the development of roads, the building of bridges, people are actually running and thanking the government, telling them that, oh, we appreciate it. You have, thinking that this is separate from or this is coming out from government's personal pocket or something like that, which is completely not true. It's not knowing that these are mainly from taxpayers' money that are being pushed in development.
Okay. All right. Now we will get to what you have found on the ground, on your findings, what exactly the real issues on the distribution, but because that would be the most interesting part. And you are here to help our viewers understand what you have found and some other issues. But Flex, I will bring you in here. As a journalist, more so an editor, you equally has a great interest in this. You have keenly following COVID-19 issues and especially on this food aid. So why do you think also it is important that an organization like Gambia Participate had to initiate such a program to find out how distribution was done?
It's very, very important because, first of all, Gambian people don't really understand, not all of them. I mean, everybody is not on the same level. There are procurement rules, and most of these procurement rules have been under the name of emergency. They have been taken aside. So most Gambians, those who are even knowledgeable, may not be even aware of even the Gambia Procurement, Public Procurement Act and the regulations. There are thresholds. If you are going to procure anything over a particular amount, the restrictions or the oversight on that is more than, for example, 1 million if you are procuring something for 1 million, if you are procuring something for 10 million. And these we are talking about up to over 700 million.
And there are procedures to be followed.
Exactly. And most of these procedures have been put aside just because of emergency. And so the government people, many of them don't understand this. So this is very important that institution like Gambia participates. Even the journalists, not all the journalists understand what the Gambia Procurement Act regulations are. So with that, you need somebody who has that specialist expertise or somebody who can access that expertise from somebody else. And this is where institutions like Gambia Participates, who focus, zero in on budgetary concerns, have a better understanding of some of these legal, requirements, can help. Collaborating with journalists, and they've been doing that, working with us, the journalists, to identify, because this doesn't start here. If you remember, there was a COVID-19 report that the Gambia Participates published, COVID Millions. And so this is a building up on that. And I think it's more and more that they're working with the media and working with the journalists. That way, the reports don't just sit somewhere gathering just dust.
Absolutely. This is more or less how things happen, by the way. So they want to change the narratives in a better way. Great. All right. Now, having said that, you had mentioned about the level of understanding of Gambians, some extent, how when certain developments have been given to them or provided, they would see it as a privilege, not something that is need for the government to do. Does this come as a surprise to you, or you being a Gambian, and we all know somehow the understanding or how people perceive things?
I think with this one, the issue is it's so rare that COVID this is the first time we've had such a COVID pandemic. Forcing businesses all to a shutdown.
Absolutely.
And I can understand that most of the people will see it as a privilege because we were so needful. People really needed this assistance, and government, to their credit, which we have to give them that credit, really tried to respond to the needs of the people, and they really increased it. If I can fully remember, they did say it would be 500 million
initially.
At the initial announcement from the president's office. And we've seen it has gone up all the way up to around 800.
Absolutely.
Even though in the report it's saying 734. I know from what I understand it's gone up. So when you say these huge figures, most Gambians, given the rarity of it happening, I can understand. Even those who are knowledgeable would even see it as maybe even a privilege, but it's not, because this is our taxpayers that is being used to fund these activities. So so definitely I understand why people would think that way. And it doesn't mean that they are not, they are not intelligent or they don't have any, they can't think for themselves. It's just the rarity and when you are in such a need and the help comes, you even feel like,
but he's saying even in terms of development, provided roads, for example, hospital, they see all these things as privileges. And I think it is hard to do because with the level of understanding or the system that we have lived in for quite a longest time, all with the murgi and all that. So I think it's hard to do with that somehow.
I think you're spot on there. One of the things that I would highlight with that is before a lot of development was politicized. And in some instances, it still is. Perhaps not to the same extent as it was, to be very fair to this government right now. But development was heavily politicized. You would find communities that would be jumped. Electricity. They would jump through one community just because they didn't vote for the former president or something like that. And thank God we are not seeing that level of politicization. So by then, many people would be of the view that, if we haven't voted for the government, so that means that they are not going to bring development to your area. And so there's this connection that people have a feeling that, yes, if we do support the government, perhaps they will support us. But that isn't the way development should work or is supposed to work. So, but hopefully more and more people get to understand this and then they realize that it's their taxpayers' money that's paying for all of this. And every community should have their right, at least, and their right development brought to them, And I think it's universal and it's important. It's the kind of work that Gambia Participates is doing is what's going to help us to make sure. And people like me and you on the media, we have also our role to
Indeed, absolutely. Yes, and it coming back to you again, before we still get to the findings, I want to know the process leading to the findings. Here's a mission that you initiated and you want to help Gambians understand how all this COVID, aid was done. How did you do your findings? What was the process like, and where did you start it, and what was the approach?
I mean, a methodology was definitely adopted. A sample size of 1,176 households were actually interviewed, and certain questions were asked. I mean, from Banjo all the way to Basse. Yes, we had households that were interviewed, and certain, like I said, questions were asked in terms of their household, the number, gender, head of the family, and also when it came to the COVID-19 food aid, how they, where they approached, where they offered coupons, if offered coupons, where were the places where they went to collect these things, like the food items, that is the rice, sugar, and oil, as well as if the actual number that was written on their coupons, that was the number that was given to them. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at even from the findings or the survey that was done, we just did not limit it to the COVID-19 food aid. We went more on demographic size, like, the number of people in a household, who is the lead, and the age bracket, and all of that. So this was the methodology that was used across the eight administrative areas, including, because it should be something around 7, considering from Banjul to Basse, but we added Kuntaur in it, so making it 8 instead. So 8 of all of these administrative areas were targeted with 1,176 households interviewed. Yes.
So that was the process.
That was the process or the methodology that was used. Yes.
How easy or difficult was it for you to get to the people that you targeted, or to implement the methodology that you used?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, because left to us, we would have gone beyond the 1,176 households. But after all, we would want to thank Open Society Foundations, which are the major donors of this food aid, survey that we did. It was not the easiest, because there are some places that you would want to reach out just to promote equality. And you have to go beyond your comfort zone, that is limiting yourself to communities that are closer to the roads, that have electricity. So we went in the communities to make sure that even the marginalized communities were also captured. You don't, if you want to actually say something that you believe or that you want to be valuable, you have to go beyond your comfort zone. That is why we went beyond, communities that are, that would be favorable, or that will be comfortable for us. So we went beyond these marginalized communities that are off the road. That is especially when you go to rural Gambia.
In remote areas.
In remote areas, you know, whereby you would have to use donkey carts to get to, you would have to park your car somewhere, get on your donkey carts and go in the communities. Because
some of us grew on those areas, so we know that, we know the experience, the things that I'm talking about.
They are all Gambians, so they should not be left behind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how was the people's response? Were they open up to respond to the questions? Were they giving you answers that you think, yeah, these people are talking about things that they survived or they have, you know, endured during this process? How was the response like?
Yeah, no, we really appreciate them because most of them were honest enough. They said what they knew, because there are some instances you will ask them questions and they would definitely tell you that I don't know. But to the ones that they knew, they did respond, and some of them even would go to the extent of maybe showing you the evidence of maybe the bottle of oil or the card that was left, so or the coupon that was given to them or something like that. So you see at the end of the day that, you know, Gambians, generally they are nice people. Sometimes you can actually go to some people and they would think that, oh, I hope this is not about politics and stuff. They might want to refrain. But overall, they were really receptive. They welcomed us well. And you know them, they go beyond of even offering you food and something.
Absolutely.
They are very hospitable. So it was fine. When we went out, they were really nice and really gave us a response to the questions that we asked.
That's how nice we are as Gambians to some extent. You know, Flex, I ask about the methodology that is used or the approach, because to some people after hearing such program, they may ask about the credibility. How credible is the process? How was it done? Who are the people targeted? Which people did they talk to? So what's your view on the process used?
This 1,176 households is a lot.
It's a huge number.
It's a huge number. It's a very good sample size, first of all. And not only that, it's when you look at the comparison of, out of that 1,176, you will find that 1,011 of those have even said that they have received. So that means that within that sample size, a good number of those, over 1,000 of those, have received that food. So that shows you that they're talking to the right type of people. It would have been more concerning had it been the other way around, that most of those people that they were talking to hadn't received that food. So I think when you look at that, it goes to show you just the people that they picked, and you know, the responses that those people definitely are the right type of people that they're targeting. And it goes beyond that. It looks at even the standard of living of those people who they have talked to. It tries to identify their earnings less than $1,000 per month, and you'll be surprised, over 17% of those that they talk to are earning that amount. The biggest number is between over $1,000 and $5,000. And you have about 45. That's almost half. That gives you an idea. That's actually what kind of thing that you expect in Gambia. Most people are earning in that range. You see, so it goes a little bit further to match those who their earnings and those who received it. So that tells us, in a way, it gives us an idea whether the people who are the poorest or the people who are earning more, are they the ones who are receiving this food aid? Which is very important, because of one of the main target of the food aid
was the vulnerable group.
Thank you. Is to provide food aid for the vulnerable. So I'm going into the findings now. I know I talk a little bit about, but I think this is also the approach, which is a little bit not just a very simplistic approach of just going scattergun, trying to see what the people have.
That's why I asked about the approach or methodology used.
To ascertain whether is it actually going to the vulnerable people, or is it just going to
anybody?
To anybody.
Certainly. All right. Very well. So let's now get to the findings exactly, because that is in the report. Flex just highlighted some of the findings that are in it. So after you went down to the ground and talked to people, you come back and try to get things together. So what were some of the things that you find in this food COVID food aid distribution? Because as you may know, there were a lot of questions that were asked about transparency, how the money was spent, the people that benefited. Others would say, I did not say anything. So, but it was good that you went to the ground and talked to the people. So, what were the findings?
Yeah, I mean, for us initially, before we even interviewed or went out to these people, there were issues that we highlighted. One would be from the procurement stage. You have the government through the Ministry of Trade announcing or calling out the bid for all of these people that are in the area of selling these items to come forth. Like he said it, or they announced it on the 24th of April, is it?
Yeah.
And less than 96 hours, we had all of these things procured, distributed. So it didn't make sense from the get-go. So you would have people questioning. So maybe not all would be interested, but this is because the money is really not small, like I said. When you look at 734, I remember when we went to a certain community in Fonyi, and we were saying that, this was the amount, like almost 734 million. Someone said that, do you know that in Gambia, we are even less than 3 million?
Yes.
So an amount of 734, you're telling me then there is something wrong. Just because of the amount, he was not having it. He was like, no, I believe that there was some level of corruption in it. But just to say that from the get-go, there were things that we could always question. That is from the procurement stage, whereby, this means that the laws were not followed, and rules and regulations. They will usually say in the name of emergencies, they would have to do it swiftly. But that is not the way it works. Everything should be regulated. So from this point, there is a reason why we need to question. So that is why we went out. So with the findings, you realize that when you go to some houses, I mean, let's say out of the 100 people or the 100% that we, went out to an interview, let's say almost 70 to 80% did say that they received these items. Well, did they receive it in like the amount that they were supposed to? Some will tell you that no. I have like 10 people in my house, and instead of giving me that equivalent amount, I was given a number of 5. These are the type of issues that they came up with. That in some, where you offered a coupon, they will tell you no. And this coupon was a sort of like a ticket that this is what I need to give you, or a receipt to get this. So if you don't have a coupon, meaning that you can go and say that I have 10 people, and they will just give you at that point without any evidence or without any receipt for you to get that. So some will tell you that I had no coupons. Some will tell you that yes, I had coupons, but the number that was indicated was not the same number that was given.
And if I can remember, what we were told, registrations were done in different areas. Then and after the registration, when you are given a ticket, sort of, that's the coupon you are talking about. Then when the food items are brought to the area, then you are called to bring that receipt or coupon to take whatever number is given to you in that. I think that was the that was the procedure.
But you had people telling you that they didn't have coupons.
Wow.
They did go, but without coupons. But some of them
eventually received something.
Some received. Some said that they didn't have coupons. They went and they did not receive. Some will tell you that they had coupons. They went, but the number that was stated there was not the exact number that was given to them. Because 2 women were even going back and forth with one of the engagements that we had. A lady was like, I had more people in my house than her, but she received more than me. So you see, so that is these are the type of issues that came up from the report. So at the end of the day, you realize that there are some issues that need to be addressed, meaning that the way that it should have been done, some didn't do it that way. I mean, like for the people of Bundung, they did agree among themselves that the way that they organized themselves, they went beyond what government could do for them, because they explained that even when it came to guarding this rice and sugar and all of that, the police or the army officials that were all there were not even catered for with food by the government. They had to personally give them food. So just to tell you that some of them went beyond. If they were just to follow the way government had wanted them to do it, these things would not have gone the way it should. But for them, they had little or no complaints, as even they indicated that almost 99% of the people in their community received this food aid. But you go to some other communities, if you have, people that are not caring, because in Bundung you had the councillors that went beyond what was their role to make sure that each and every one, you being Gambian or not, they even say that whether you are, once you are a resident of the Gambia, so you could have this,
you benefit from it.
You benefited from it. So. But you go to some other areas, they will tell you that the way it was done, they received nothing. They will tell you that they received nothing. Wow. Although we had issues whereby people, people, I can come to your house and you tell me that there are 10 people in your house. Instead, there's 5. Yeah. So you won't blame others for putting that number. Because, this is why I said that everything that has to do with us fighting corruption starts from us.
Can we so get probably in certain communities or areas, probably the right people were not involved in the process as well?
Yeah, maybe. So certainly you would say, because even some of these people that were, given this contract to go and do the survey and all of this, to ask how many people some of them lacked the manner, the etiquettes and all of that. Yeah. Because some people thought that this was more of political. Yeah. Some will tell you that I'm not into politics. But it is up to you to be able to explain to them that this has little or nothing to do with politics, right? This is trying to help you, especially the vulnerable, at least for you in the time of this pandemic, whereby, source of incomes have been locked down. So whereby we would be able to help you with these food items. So you would know that some of these people, their approaches were just not right with the people. Okay. Some of them just got it completely wrong, what this food aid was all right. About.
Now, the moment I would want us to switch in the local language, but before we do, you did, of course, your findings and came up with a report. Now, what exactly are the main issues of anything that you think people need to know or understand in your findings that is in your report, which you think it's relevant, to the public?
Yeah, first of all, like I said, the issue of rules, regulations, starting from the procurement one, that is something that Gambians need to know, that there are rules and regulations placed whenever government want to procure anything. Most of us are unaware of this, even the learned. So these are things that, but we realize that the government didn't follow this. If you look at it, some rules were just, passed by, with the whole procurement. And at the end of the day, Gambians also, the lessons that we have learned is most people are vulnerable in the Gambia when it comes to their income. People are earning less than $5,000. Yeah. So when this food aid initiative came in, it was more of a support to them. They believed that the government was supporting them. So it didn't matter how much money was pumped in. All they cared about was, the government is supporting us. So you realize that because of the level of income of some people, no matter what the government does, they might not see the fault at it. All they want is what they would get at the end of the day. Yeah, so that is something. And also, we realize that, like I said, that this would, in the long run, might affect the macroeconomy of the country. I mean, looking at that almost 800 million. This was actually taken out from the debt payment. We were supposed to pay or repay our debts. And Gambia, we are every year we are incurring so much debt. So this 800 million was actually taken, meaning that in the long run, our debt,
it's just
going to go up. It's just going to go up.
Absolutely.
Probably we might not see it now, but in the long run, it might affect us as well,
as
including as well as government spending. Because we realize that the National Assembly also approved a supplementary bill, about almost like 2.3 million, so meaning that some things were cut off from other ministries, just to be able to support the COVID-19 food aid. So you realize at the end of the day, these are the things that we got to find out. And we realize that maybe as of now, we might not see the impact of everything that has happened, but in the long run, it might surface.
It will come calling, and that may be another thing. Yes, based on what you've heard from her, Flex, and people were concerned about transparency, especially on the distribution process, and she highlighted some of the things that they find out on their findings. So does this somehow vindicate some people who were concerned, or more or less you may understand it's because of the situation at the time? What's your reading of the whole process, actually what happened and what you heard from her?
Yes, I think there's one way to see it, because emergencies do occur. And perhaps Gambia has not had the we have not been faced with such an emergency before. So this is unprecedented. And government was trying their best to respond. But sometimes the way this kind of issues, they raise up the gaps. It highlights the gaps that government has with regards to emergency procurement. Other countries have regulation in place to deal with emergency procurement. Some of the regulations can be relaxed. But there's a reason why procurement is there, and it's to ensure value for money. If you go and you flout all the regulations and there are no emergencies, what you end up finding is that you don't get value for money.
There are people always who will intend to take advantage of this
situation.
Exactly,
and that I believe is what has happened.
Oh, really?
Yes, clearly. Because you will find that in some instances, some people who were providing the items, they provided a little bit even more. And that is very, very unusual. In most cases, what you will find is that people will provide less. So, but that is those with regards to from the procurement perspective. But what most people see is the distribution. Because of people, the everyday person is not sat in the procurement office when they are, or when the teams are discussing. So what they see is the distribution, and in the distribution is where most of the concerns are from the public. That's where they raise that, you know, the way that they were distributing it was not done properly. And I'm running radio programs. Until today, people are calling and telling us that they are having their coupons with them.
Without receiving anything.
Yes, without receiving anything. So what that tells you is, one, either those people didn't go to pick up their foodstuffs, which we cannot rule out. That's also a possibility. Or they went and they did not have, they were not given their food items. And so in a way, I believe what this report, the benefit of this report is, one, it can help us ensure that we have better regulations to deal with emergency procurement. One, that will ensure value for money. Because that's what the reasons for procurement is there for. Two, where the corruption is occurring the most, especially when it comes to distribution, the regulations that we need to put in place also to guide how we distribute these items, who should get it, and the fact that there are other mechanisms which need to be done, like GBOS also, those who need to be doing the surveys have to have this data, because you're only as good as the data you have. That will tell you, here is where the poor people are, here are where the vulnerable people are. So as a government, I think that there's a lot that they can learn, and it is from that perspective that I think that if we focus on ensuring that these regulations are in place, then we can make sure that we are less vulnerable. If another pandemic was supposed to happen and we need to use emergency procurement, which you can never rule out in the world that we live in.
Very well. Yes, again, that's very important. But you know, just a quick one, Annette, before we move on into the local, like I said. But government also, we had saying that, you know, about 80% of the, you know, population were expected to benefit from the food aid. Based on your findings, where do you think that was the actual people benefited from?
Yeah, no, that is it, because I think they said that around 84%.
Exactly.
Yes,
so
of households
were
supposed to be targeted.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, when you do the complete, not that 84 was not. Because even from the number, the sample size that we took, those people are telling you that they did not receive. Some did not receive, or some there was an issue with the amount that they were supposed to receive. So once you have one or two people telling you about this, that either they did not receive or the amount that they should have received were not given to them, then there are questions that you would need to ask. Yes. So as per what we did get from the survey or interview that we had with households.
It's below that.
It's below, yes, it's below, yeah.
Okay, at this juncture, we need to just remind our viewers that you're watching Africa TV on a special discussion with Gambia Participate representatives, and they are here. We talk about the famous COVID-19 food aid, if you can remember, that was distributed in different part of the country. So they were out and about in different part of the country to do a finding more or so as to how the distribution was done, the people that are expected to benefit, does it exactly happen as expected? So they did a report, so they're helping us understand what is in the report. And of course, so let's let's go with this report before we switch into the local language. Of course, during the food distribution, you know, Africa, as always, we are on the ground, and we will now have a look at this one, and then, you know, we will continue the discussion.
Over 100 of people gathered in the community of Fajikunda on Tuesday to collect their own share of over $7 million government food aid aimed at supporting the less privileged in the country. A resident of Fajikunda, Maria Majalo, who has been queuing to receive her own supply since 6 a.m., observed that social distancing was not observed during the distribution. Maria Majalo blamed the authorities responsible for the distribution.
They should have controlled the crowd by only calling on 5 or 10 people to queue and later invite another set to avoid this crowded environment.
In response, the ward councillor of Fajikunda denied the suggestion of being among those responsible for the overcrowd. Baba Jabi said the actual plan for the distribution process was supposed to be tomorrow, but they had to do it due to high demand for it.
To control the crowd.
Executive Director at the National Disaster Management, Sanat Dahaba, said the objective of the food aid is for public health regulation, but the crowd is deviating the whole purpose.
The reason why government is giving this emergency support is because of COVID-19. So if people can crowd together like this, that's creating a problem, and that's not actually what the government is supporting this food item, emergency food support.
COVID-19 global pandemic way of life since its emergence to the country. As a result, President Adama Barrow used his veto powers to extend the state of public emergency to another 21 days. For iAfrica TV News, Awa Makalu.
All right. This was, of course, you know, when the distributions was done, when COVID was here. Of course, we visited different distribution centers, and this was in Fajikunda. And of course, you heard from one of the beneficiaries, a councillor, you know, and also the NDMA executive director. So, I mean, you heard what they have said, that, you know, the distribution was meant to help people because of the health emergency that has happened. So, you know, don't you think probably, and you saw how people were hustling to get, you know, to receive you know, so what's your understanding of?
Yeah, just like he said, that is the executive director of NDMA. You know, the reason why you are helping out people is to avoid the spread of the virus. Yeah. And you look at this people, they are all gathered in one place. Yeah. You know, so maybe proper coordination should have, you know, they should have sat in a way whereby instead of having one whole the crowd going to just one place, they should have done maybe a sort of settings. This all comes with proper coordination on how this distribution should have been done. But you realize that, as you can see, the people of Fajikunda, it's not only them. You go to others, but you have other places, centers, whereby you had different places in the same venue whereby the distribution was done. Yeah. All they need to do was have their list with the different ends in that area and have the distribution going smoothly. But with other people, so when it comes to coordination, it should have been done properly, because what was happening there, I mean, why would you even, there was people were not wearing masks, everyone was gathered together, so meaning that the virus could have even been spreading easily.
Absolutely, and to some extent some of them were frustrated, Flags. You had that one of that lady who was saying, I mean, she had been there several times, 6 a.m., but nothing absolutely. She couldn't understand how the process was done.
And perhaps those are the ones who are complaining that they still have their coupons.
Yeah, probably.
You see, so being organized is very, very important. And it's one way to make sure that we control the virus, one, as well as make sure that the people who come, everybody comes, they get their food item quickly and they move. But local leaders or councillors play a very important role. I'm not surprised when we talk about Bundung Kakunda. The current is now the National Assembly member, Honorable Suleiman Jammeh, and we saw the work that he did. No wonder that area there was, glowing with regards to the number of people who received it and the way that they organized it, even supporting the officers with food items there. So I think local leaders play a very, very important role, and sometimes it takes a leader like that.
Yeah, because they are the people who knows the people that they interact in daily basis, and supposedly they were the people that are expected to help in trying to have a good or proper organization in terms of distribution, to avert such kind of situations. At this juncture, ñu duga si rek ci olof bi tamit, because tamit ñuy seetaan comme noonu lañ ko waxee ci benn point bi nga xamante ne bëgg naa ñu continuer waxtaan bi rek du jaraat bëggoon naa ñu tënkaat yi waaye time bi dañu ko may waaye li gën a am solo rek mooy pour yéen def ngeen ay gestu xam nuñ seddaalee maalo bi diwlin bi ndax jaar na ci yoon but ci process bi tamit yaa ngi doon dégg sax am na yeneen nit ñi nga xamante ne ñu ngi doon wax ne yëf yi fuñ dañ ko sàcc xeerande ba am na ay soldats yu ñu doon tuumal xibaar boobu génnoon na fii jëne am na ñu fa jàppoon ñu ngi sàcc affaire ndax loolu tamit gis ngeen ko si seen findings yi wala nit ñi yaa ngi ko doon joytu ci bi ngeen waxee ak ñoom.
waaw soo demee sa si nit yi dañ laa wax ne ay soldats leen amoon foofu noonu pour ñu leen koo gaadal di leen xoolal waaye ñun fu ñu jot a dem moo nekk Fooñeeg Bundung ñooñu lu ñu jot a wax moo nekk soldats yi de moom def neen lu ñu waroon a def neen seen liggéey waaye problème bi moo nekk yow nguur bi yaa ngi yóbbu soldats yi pour ñu nekk foofu noonu di liggéey lekka bu baax sax amun ko comme Bundung ñun ñu ko waxee benn jigéen foofu moo daan toogal di jox soldats yi te xam nga ne lii yëpp xëy na soo demee ba nga ko seetuwaate si lu ñoo génne pour COVID-19 xaalis bi xam naa ñu ngi ko binda feena ne dineen jox li nga xam ne mooy toppatoo soldats yi nga xam ne ñooy garde maalo bi ak yooyu noonu waaye gis nga ne ñooñu moom jotuñ see am
implementation si ground bi loolu feeñu fa
ground bi sax xëy na loolu feeñu fa waaye soo delluwaatee pour nga xool si paper xam naa ñu ngi la ko fa bindal ba mu rafet ne soldats yi nga xam ne ñu ngi leen yóbbu foofu pour ñuy garde maalo bi ak yooyu de lii moo nekk xaalis buñ leen di jox pour suñ koo garde waaye fii nga xam ne Bundung ñu ngi laa wax ne ñoom soldats yu fa nekkoon sax ñoo doon am pour jox leen añ amoon na kenn bu mu doon wax ne sa time weeri koor la ndogu sax ñoom ñoo leen ko doon jox fu nekkoon noonu di def seen liggéey waaye community bi seen boppa ñoo war a am génne seen own poste pour mun a toogal am soldats
waaw ci comme li ngay wax ni lu ci doy waar ci kayit bi dañ dee bindal xëy na ñii moom dañ leen kéetal ba pare ñii moom pour soldat seen ndogu la waaye soo demee ñooñu ndogu sax fekkee ñu ngi xool fan la ndogu bi war a jógee loolu mu nekk lu doy waar soo ganee indi leeral rek ci liggéey bi nga xamante ne def ngeen ko comme noo ko waxee waxtaan ngeen lu ëpp junnee nit ci gox-goxaat yi ci réew mi ba den lan exactly la nit ñi di wax ci ñoom lu utee Bundung ak Fooñi fi ngeen wax waaye général seen report bi lan ngeen dégg ci nit ñi ñoom naka lañ gisee seen maalo bu ñu seddaalee ni ñu ko seddaalee ni ñu ko defee tamit parce que def dafa am solo waaye defin bi tamit loolu tamit ñoom naka lañ ko gisee.
pour ñun jot a dem si kër yi jógee neen fi nga xam ne mooy Banjul ba Basse dem si ay different kër pour lacce leen yéen ay lacce waaye lu si ëppa daal wax neen ñu ne ñoom jot neen si maalo bi diwlin bi ak sukur bi am na ñag ni nga xam ne dañ ñu ne luñ leen bindal si seen kayit yi loo xam ne suñ demee loolu leen war a jox ñoom loolu noonu jotuñ ko maanaam yow soo amee tey fukki nit sa kër yaa war a ëppale ki nga xam ne juróomi nit la am si këram waaye ñeneen yi dem neen ba leen den laa wax ne suñ demee foofu noonu li nga xam ne juróomi nit ki loolu la moo am moom tamit loolu la moo am te li nga xam ne kayit boobu noonu leen ko jox nekkut ne loolu moo fa waroon a nekka mu am ñoo xam ne dañ la wax ne ñoom jotu ñoo am kayit waaye dem neen jot ne ñoo am ñoo xam ne tam wax neen ne ñoom jot ne noo am kayit luñ dem foofu noonu loolu leen jox waaye soo ko seetee ak yenn lacce loo leen dee lacce dañ la dee wax ne ñoom xamun ñu si ëpp because dem leen wax leen ne loo leen foog ndax lépp luñ def si yoon ndax gom ngeen ne njuut njaay daf si bokka ñu bari dañ la dee ne xamun pour wax la ne lu si ëppa si Gambian si soo leen waxutee luy xew pour ñu xam ko dina jafe waaw soo moo tax dafa important comme li nga xam ne ñu ngi koo def ñu munati ko ñëw waxtaan ak nit yi parce que lu bari la soo demee out especially soo demee si fi nga xam ne mooy rural Gambia soo leen nii la cee yéena lifin ñoom luñ la dee wax moo nekk daal xamuñ waaw maanaam moom mi ne sensitization di waxtaan ak nit yi lu am solo la biir Gambia waaw
alright am na solo ci flexi sensitization bi ak process bi nuñ ko defee ak li Annette wax tey boo ci doon def jàngat yow tamit ak ni nga gisee nuñ ko defee ak surtout report bu ñu wone léegi dafa mel ni war nañoo mun a jàngal lu bari ci report bi xam naa foofu la ñoo wala ci process bi nuñ ko defee lu foofu la ñoo jeexale but ban jàngat nga mun a indi ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci li nga déggagum Annette wax ko nit ñi nuñ gisee nuñ seddaale maalo bi ak diwlin bi ci biir dëkk bi.
waaw investigation bi. gestu na loolu.
waaw
gis na ne buñ laajtee nit yi. ndax gis neen ne corruption am na.
waaw
si lan si procurement transportation ak distribution.
waaw mooy njuuj njaaj.
waaw overall procedures yi ñetti step yooyu noonu yëpp. ndik ñëpp lépp lu nekk. dafa dooree procurement bi. dem si lan
mooy ni nga ko jëndee.
nu nga ko jëndee. mu dem si transportation. mu nekk na ko gars yi di. yóbbu waaw ak distribution mu nekk na ko gars yi di tasaare.
exactly waaw
si nit yi si gox bi. so ñoom bu ñu la tee nit yi. ñu ne comme 31% almost dafa xaw a equal daal.
waaw
31% ñu ne ñoom gis neen ko. beneen 31% almost 30%. naa ne 30% rek. ndig numbers yi noonu la awa mel. beneen 30% ne ñoom xamuñ si dara. beneen 30% ne waaw gis neen so mu nekk dafa xaw a
affaire xala
ñetti ways.
waaw léegi because beneen 30% boo ñoom xamuñ.
waaw
xamuloo ndax ñoom ci bii lañ wéeru wala ci bale. ñoom ñu ci digga bi.
waaw
exact
ñeneen ñi ne waaw.
waaw ñi ñu ne.
waaw
juuj njaaj xew na ci. ñeneen ñi mun a déedéet
non.
ok
so da
affaire yi jaar na yoon.
da ngaa gis ne comme ñu bari.
waaw
dafa xaw a tasaare daal.
waaw gis-gis yu dafa wutee.
dafa wutee.
ok
ba pare soo ko gestuwee. si ñoo xam ne. gis neen ne corruption am na.
waaw
si biir 30% boobu. ñoo xam ne ñu ne waaw gis neen corruption. ñoo ñu bari. si fan si distribution bi. la gars yi gën a gis ne corruption foofu la am.
ok
te soo ko xoolee. si biir distribution bi. foofu la nit yi di nekk di gis loolu la nit yi di gis. maalo yi ak yeneen yi
mu ngi jaar ci yenn koñ yi
so loolu la gars yi di gis. so loolu mu ngi laa woon ne ñu bari xamun sax mbir yëfi procurement. waaw
ok te foofu dafa interesting xam naa ne sax point bu am si parce que da ngay gis ñeneen ñi nga xamante ne da ngay wax ne gis ne ni maalo bu ngee demee nii wala ñeneen ñi sax lu ñu am dafa ëppa lu ñu waroon a am wala ñeneen ñi lu ñu waroon a am sax amuñ ko yooyu yëpp Annette mu ngi ko wax feeñ na ci ba ñu jeexale ak bennam bi point rek bi nga xamante ne foog ñu def comparison tamit ci lessons li ñu war a mën a jàngee ci li gis ne report bi li ngeen ci jublu mooy lu fa nekk nit ñi xam ko loolu moo waral programme bi but soo gisee yeneen réew bi Covid bi ñëwee ñoom demuñ jënd maalo ñeneen dañ subvent jël xaalis bi wàññi njur gi dugal ko pour ñëpp daal di njëg li mu wàññeeku réew bu mel ni comme gara ñoom télécommunication bi lañ ñëw dugal xaalis call yi yomba internet yomba fekk seerul est-ce que nit ñi rees nañ issues yu mel noonu pour ñoom buñ sañoon nguur gi nii la ko doon doxalee waaye duñ jënd maalo ñeneen gis seen bopp ñeneen duñ gis seen bopp coow li bari doo xam naka la waaye buñ jëloon xëy na xaalis bi am nuñ ko dugalee xëy na njëriñ bi def doon gën a bari ñeneen ñi sax dañ ñëw wàññi taxe bi wala ñeneen ñi duñ fay taxe par exemple Sénégal media bi dañ joxe certain periods kenn du fay taxe soo nit ñi gis seen bopp loolu est-ce que feeñ na si seen gestu bi
xam nga dëkk bu nekk ak noo ko mun a doxalee ba pare dëkk yi emun tooluwul comme soo ko seetee ñun Gambia fii suñ économie bi ak yooyu noonu doo ko mun a tombale ak Sénégal ak Ghana léegi da ngaa gis ne ñu bari nag li nga xam ne mooy sukkur bi maalo ba lépp ñoom kontaan neen si ñoom comme loolu noonu dimbale na leen o ñoom suñ sañoon xëy na nu ko government bi defee ne ñu jënali jox leen ko loolu noonu bëggoon neen ko waaye xëy na nu mu fa jaaree moom leen xamul comme nu ko flex doon waxee ñoom ñu ngee wax ne ñu njaay bi ñu ngi ko gis si tasaare bi wala lifin waaye ñoom sax jotu ñoo xam yëfi buñ ko doon jëna nu ko nguur bi jënee ñu bari boo leen doon lacce because am na benn sax ñu ngi doon am ay waxtaan bu ndaw si yëfi buñ ko doon transport maanaam buñ ko doon génnee place di ko yóbbu soo gisee report bi lu si lifin mu ngi mel ni ñu ngi laaj wax ne pour just yóbbu bagage yi from fu mu nekk Banjul ba yeneen place dem na si ay millions transportation bi ay millions soo xam nga at the end of the day ñoom am na yenn sax ñoom ñu ngeen ne nii leen ko buggee parce que xëj na ñoom luñ jot a gis sérieux torop xëj na si wàllum buñ ko doon tasaare leen gis waaye suñ jotoon a xam xëj na si gannaaw comme maanaam buñ ko doon jëna nu mu fa lifin auditing report bi so bu mu ñëwee pour lii yëpp suñ gisee lu fa xew xëy na suñ gisee loolu yëpp dinañ doon wax ne mun nañ ko woon a defee nii waaye pour most nit yuñ jot a waxaat lii nii ñoom appreciate nañ lii waaw appreciate nañ initiative bi
dama laajte loolu because dafay baax pour ñuy def comparison léegi yeneen réew yi ndax buñ ko defee fii dina work wala du work parce que tey ña boo jëloon 700 millions nga sobben ko nga ne ko léegi ok saaku maalo time boobu mu ngi jar $1,000 wala $1,150 nga ne ko léegi def nañ ko 800 from April to March wala dis nguur gi seet na loolu dina ko mun a xëy na ñëpp dañoo jënd maalo 700 wala 6 so because yeneen réew loolu lañ def but luñ mun a jàngal la waaye nit ñi tamit buñ ko apprécié amaana probably nguur gi dañoo feel it was the right approach so naka nga gisee loolu finally
waaw definitely am na solo man lu ma see yokka mooy ne government su jëndee all these items at one big bulk loolu lu moo def dafa génnee bagage yu bari si biir économie ba pare loolu tamit dafa tax price yi maalo price yu because of goods yooyu noonu léegi dañoo scarce ndig bariwun waaw te économie moo mel noonu loo xamee ne defe naa am dafa gën a seer
point bu am solo
waaw so yaa ngay gis ne government lu mu def tamit baax na si benn boor wante tamit am na consequences
ci beneen boor
am na consequences
parce que lu nekkoon ci marché bi boo jëndee yëpp nga yóbbu ko balaa leneen di ñëwaat xëy na marché bi dana am nu manqué waaw
so loolu yëpp tamit bokk na si government tamit war naa xool ne mu prépare pour make sure ne mu dëgëral suñ agriculture balaa ñuy jënd bagage yi nii yëpp abroad or muy ñëw ñu ko import what about suñ local pharmacy suñ dëgëraloon gaay ñu make sure ne for example half of maalo yi nii yëpp si biir local pharmacy
xaalis bi des fi
xaalis bi dafa des fi loolu lu moo tax pharmacie tamit dinañ gën a am xaalis boo xam ne dinañ mën a jëlaat xaalis boobu noonu ñu plaaw ko wante ñu ñëpp xam neen suñ capacité bi pour indi maalo yooyu noonu yëpp dafa des soo yooyu noonu yëpp tamit nit yi xam naa ne ñu ngi gestu di xool yenn yi wante expert yi tamit ñoo ñu mun a xelal boo xam ne ñu xool flex daal lu mu wax ndax am na solo wala ñu xoolaat beneen xalaat ñu door di gestu ñuy jànga xool yeneen dëkk yi tamit comme noo wax nen bàyyi di mel ni comme Gambia si maas la nekk
wala dañ nekk si island
exactly
mënuñoo isolate suñ boppa
absolutely yaa ngi ko def na ñëw jànga si yooyu
thank you very much jërëjëf xam naa ne waxtaan bi neex na lool te boo leen sañoon wala ñun sax buñ sañoon ñu continuer ko waaye xam ngeen ne media moom comme ci waxtu la ñoo doxee li ñu ciraloon ci waxtu daanaka jeesi na soo ma gërëm suma gars yi bu baax ma ci yaatal su ko defee just ku nekk 30 seconds concluding remarks dama bàyyi jigéen bi mu tëj comme moom moo ubbi flex yow ma bàyyi la rek nga conclude.
Thank you so much for your invitation.
Thank you.
And to be here and talking about Gambia participates. Len yegal ne dinen am more radio programs about this. So len buge call hamna tay mo amulen chance pour bokka ci waxtan bi.
Absolutely.
Wonte Friday West Coast Radio dinen fa nek ak Monday tamit. 4 to 5 ngeen call ngeen bokka ci bir waxtan bi ñu xam yeen sen xalaat. Pejna amna lo ñu bëgg wax lo gis ci bir programme bi ni
waaw te su xamoon naa buñ ubbi line si ñu am call si bay waaye next time comme noo ko waxee du ñàkk Annette finally nooy lan ngay tëjee.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate the time here.
Thank you.
It's always a privilege to come out to speaking to Gambians because we think that they really deserve to know what's happening and to tell them that this findings and this report is available online, so they can and this is the hard copy. So in case people want the hard copy, they can always come to our office at Westfield and we can hand over one to them.
Is it for free?
Yeah, it's for free. It's for free.
Right.
Yeah, we deserve that everyone needs to know and learn from this. And for our government officials as well. It's really equally important for them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Annette Mahoney. Just to tell, of course, say that he is the program manager for Gambia Participate. Thank you very much for coming. Equally Flex, Yusuf Taylor, a colleague, of course, journalist and of course, editor-in-chief of Gainak Online. Thank you very much also for coming. It was a pleasure to have you guys here to discuss about this report, and I hope our viewers also have, understand the need why we were here, and of course also understand how the distribution and some of the findings that you have, did during this period. So thank you very much for being there as always. This was how much we got time for this program, and we will be back next time in another program. But until then, keep watching iAfrica TV. Thank you very much, and bye for now.